Those of you who have been with me long enough, you know I often refer to Swami Vivekananda saying, give me 100 committed youth and I will change this country. 150 years ago, Swami Vivekananda said, give me 100 committed youth and I will change this country. We are teaching at least 12,000 students inside the classroom physically face-to-face. We are going to more than 120 schools. We need 100 such youth even today to change the whole country. तो ये जो 40 सुन रहे हैं ना, उसमें से एक भी अगर निकल गया ना, you succeeded. Krishna could find only one Arjun. Ramakrishna Paramhans could find only one Vivekananda. तो तुम्हारे क्लास में एक मिल गया ना, जहां दिल लग गया, उसके आंखों में तुमने एक जोश जुनून देख लिया, there is a spark in their eyes. I mean, it's incredible success. Now I can interpret it that 40 children are going great guns, brilliant. So my goal is to find that one child inside the classroom who's going to be one of those 100 youth, who's going to lead our country to greatness. Now imagine what kind of a peace, what kind of a composure, what kind of a stability, what kind of a smile, and therefore what kind of a session will you conduct inside the classroom? I am free. But freedom by itself is meaningless unless freedom is backed by discipline. And that is what this session is going to be all about. So all that I have shared with you right now is the preface for you to understand how powerful this session is. While having a longing for freedom is natural, what is necessary is discipline. So let's begin the session. In your life, what has been your experience with the struggle for freedom? In which aspects of life? Now all of you are free to write down, or you're free to think. In which aspect of life have you struggled for freedom? And each phase of your life. Have you ever struggled for freedom? Or have you that kind of a life where you are blessed and you could be free at any point of time? Let's say, for example, there may be many women here who are very capable, who had a super business or a career. You wanted to fly, but family necessities, and you probably sacrificed your career for the sake of the family and the needs of the family. Maybe for children, maybe husband got posted somewhere else. And there was a small phase of life where you did not have or enjoy the freedom that you wanted, which could have taken you to the next level. Maybe some youngsters over here, you did not want to study what you're studying. But in the family, they told you that you have to follow this path. And sometimes the emotional blackmail is, इतना बड़ा साम्राज्य किसके लिए किया है? तुम्हारे लिए है. You know, that kinds. So in your life, what has been your experience with freedom? Good, bad, ugly? Okay, let's go to the next slide. What has been your experience with discipline? I mean, think about your life. Let's say today. Let's talk about freedom in the past, maybe about present, but discipline definitely with respect to present. Is discipline easy? Is discipline difficult? Can you resist temptations? Like garam samosa with chutney, खजूर वाली, और धनिया की भी साथ में विथ मिंट, स्टीमिंग हॉट. एक खा ले यार, कल से नहीं खाएंगे। और ऐसा थॉट सुबह 11 बजे और 4:30 बजे दोनों बार आता है रोज। You want to sleep early, but you're seeing something on the TV. And they create in such a way where there is always an incompleteness at the end of the episode. You are seeing a comedy, but looking at that, your life becomes a tragedy. And then you sleep at 1:30 and not able to get up in the morning. And then not able to work the entire day because the head is a little heavy. I'm not concerned about the heavy head. I'm concerned about the heavy this. How's your experience with discipline? You know, the word discipline comes from the word disciple. And disciple means the ability to learn. Indiscipline means no capability to learn whatsoever. So how has your experience with discipline been? You can mark yourself. You don't have to show the answers to anybody. But again, it's a question of awareness. This freedom and discipline have an extraordinary relationship with each other. Can I have the next slide, please? Now, inside the classroom, you're going to have an interaction with the children and you're going to ask them 2 questions. Ask them, what does freedom mean to you? So I'm asking this question to all of you right now. What does freedom mean to you? Does freedom mean dreams? What does freedom mean to you? Anybody spontaneously? To live life on my own terms. Milind? Freedom means power. Others? Yes? Freedom means an ability to express myself. Okay. Yes. Being responsible for my decisions. So inside the classroom, make people speak. Now, don't be bothered if too many people are not speaking. I have 150 people and 4 of them spoke. Where will my attention be is critical over here. क्या यार कोई बात ही नहीं कर रहा है यार, क्या मतलब है यार? 4 of them spoke. And almost 3 of them are in the same table. And one, she's a diamond, of course, her name is Hira. So the point is, even if somebody doesn't answer, you have made them start to think. And some people need time for a thought to become a structure and carry some meaning inside their head. So spontaneously people are not answering. It is because they will take a little time. So it's absolutely okay. But you have already helped them to start the process of thinking. That is crucial and that is beautiful. Anybody else? What does freedom mean to you? Yes. Freedom means abundance. Clarity of thoughts. So you see, if you can give a little more time, there will be a few people who will speak up. But we don't have enough time, hence we will move to the next question. What does discipline mean to them? Now, this is more interesting than the first question. What does discipline mean to you? Very boring. Oh, ability to say no. Yes. Discipline means commitment. Ability to complete my thoughts. Okay, Swapnil. Structure. Okay. Me Botra. To do whatever I have decided. Okay. To control myself. Okay. Consistency. Sacrificing pleasures. कोई तेरी टीम में नहीं आएगा. So you see, this is how people open up. You ask them a question, you want an answer immediately. The first question will always have a few takers. Second, they have found the चार जिन्होंने बात किया था ना, उनकी सांसें चल रही है, कोई बेहोशी नहीं हुई है, मतलब बोल सकते हैं हम भी. And in the third round, I'm telling you, if we continue, many more hands will go up. And even now, there are a few more hands, but we couldn't go to them because time nahi. Next, please. Now, what we are going to do is, inside the classroom, This is super interesting. You will ask everybody to take a sheet of paper and you will ask them to divide that paper into two. So it will be a good idea if you can also do that. You have a sheet of paper, in case you have a free paper, then divide it. Otherwise, do it mentally. Okay, this is spontaneous, so not well prepared. Now, inside the classroom, make them open a sheet of paper, ask them to divide it into two, and let them write freedom on top of one column and discipline on the top of the other column. Freedom and discipline are two sides of the same coin. Only freedom, there is destruction. Only discipline, you live somebody else's dream. Your own never comes into play. So only one of them will give you a very incomplete life, but two of them together create an extraordinary life. So what you will do is you'll ask them, create a list. And then you will ask them, okay, write down anything about what does discipline mean to you. So can I have, what does freedom mean to you? First one, allows you to explore. Freedom allows you to explore. Let's say, for example, you want to find out which is the right talent for you. You might want to go to sports. You might go for music. You might want to play some online games. You want to explore. Freedom gives you the ability to explore. सिर्फ एक चीज नहीं करना है, 4-5 चीज करके देखते हैं which suits me. And that is why I really like the concept of multiple subjects inside the classroom in our nation. Unless you explore everything, you wouldn't know what works for you. So freedom gives me the ability to explore. And then what happens? Counter. Exploration cannot be the goal. Success is the goal. So once I explore, it is discipline which allows me to succeed. I want to explore and find out what is the right method of fitness for me. Should I go for Pilates? Should I go for yoga? Should I go for jogging? Should I go for gymming? I explore all. But the idea is not to explore and find acha kya lagta. The idea is to have a goal. Okay, I want to drop about 10 kgs of fat from my body within 3 months. Now it is discipline which will help me to succeed. So I need to begin with freedom so that I can explore. But without discipline, I will only have intellectual knowledge. कि अरे यार पिलाटिस ना बहुत मजा आता है. मालूम मैं तेरे को बताऊं पिलाटिस में क्या होता है? And chances are by that time हमारा पेट इतना हो गया है, you don't need a table when you are having chai. You can balance the cup and saucer right over here. In fact, your friends also can. So I need freedom to explore, but I need discipline to succeed. Next point. It allows me to follow my passion. Like my passion is training. But I'm passionate about it and I don't have discipline. Then it will become very difficult to move on. Freedom allows me to explore my passions, and discipline allows me to become really good in that. Otherwise, my passion is only for fashion. बोलने के लिए अच्छा है, ये मेरा पैशन है, लेकिन रिजल्ट कुछ नहीं है. ठन ठन गोपाला. Again, intellectually, you have a lot of knowledge now. But you are not a role model. Let's go back to that session. All of us need a role model in our life. Next thing, please. It allows us to think as big as we can. And I know enough of you would be thinking really big. Breathtaking goals. But to execute it, we need discipline. What is the point in thinking big if I don't have that discipline? Without discipline, I won't reach there. Gives us the capability to think as big as we want to. But then it is discipline which will help us to reach there. Otherwise, because Betu spoke about Amitabh, we will also become Bol Bachchans. बात बहुत करता है, discipline नहीं है, activity नहीं है. Intention is good. action is poor. So inside the class, there will be some people who have the ability to think big. They can think with freedom. They are fearless. They can also say, "मैं ना एक दिन अंबानी को लोन देगा." I had a child who came to do the batch. I said, "What is your goal?" "To give loan to Mukesh Ambani." I should have so much money. I said, "You can begin with me, and I will pray that you reach there." Next point, please. Freedom allows us to set our goals, and discipline enables us to do whatever it takes. Now, to do whatever it takes requires discipline. And we have discussed that. Next point, please. It allows us to dream. If you're not free, you won't dream. If you're not free, you won't dream. It allows us to dream. And discipline allows us to make our dreams a reality. And the final point. Freedom allows us to choose what we want. That's a tough one. Choose what we want. Career, life partner. Choose what you want. And discipline allows us to develop skills and the required knowledge to make it happen. Now look at only one side. Let's talk only about freedom. What does freedom give to you? Allows you to explore, allows you to follow your passion, allows you to think how big goals you have, allows us to set our goals, allows us to dream, allows us to choose what we want. Isn't this what we want? All of us, we want this, right? This is what we want. But can this be possible without that? And that's the whole game. Some of you would have had that experience where you were in school, you were super smart. And there is somebody else who was dull, dumb, boring. And you used to take them for granted, you used to make fun of them. Fast forward 20 years. You are somewhere struggling or stuck in life. Emotionally, you are a little bit on the tsunami's level. And that person has a company with 1,000 employees. And we say, "अरे यार, स्कूल ना, उसके पास तो खाने को भी पैसे नहीं रहते थे. मैं ही घर से 2 लोगों का टिफिन लेके आता था. अरे उसके पास काफी बार फीस के लिए नहीं रहता था, मैंने जेब से भरा है. अरे वो खेलने का रहता था ना, उसके पास जूता नहीं होता था, मैंने अपने जूते उसको दिए हैं." Excellent. Somewhere in life, we missed out on this. So we had a great beginning. We had an extraordinary platform. We had so many opportunities. We were allowed to be free. But this somewhere got completely ignored. And our freedom became, I am free to do what I want, even if it means destroying myself. I am free to tell you what I think I should, even if it means the relationship is really harmed. In the absence of discipline, nothing great has ever been achieved by anybody in the entire history of humanity. While everybody knows I want freedom, you actually want freedom, then you will live a life of discipline. Because it is discipline which will enable you to enjoy your freedom. If discipline is not there, you will destroy yourself. Because the freedom you need is not the freedom to create. The freedom you need is completely egoistic. The freedom you need is not for some goals you want to achieve. The freedom you need is because the interpretation is, I will do everything my way, or everybody can go the highway. So when a teacher teaches inside the classroom, somebody is free to disturb the class the way they want. But those who are disciplined, few years down the line, they are the people who will be rock stars. So what happens when I desire only freedom and not discipline? Can I see that, please? Look at these 6 things now. What happens when there is a desire for freedom without discipline? And this is very common, more common than you and me can think. A desire for freedom without discipline. More common than what we think. What happens? Imagine a sailboat and it has no rudders. This boat can travel across the Pacific Ocean. Utna potential hai, utna capability hai, but rudder is not there. Then what happens? It gets lost. Okay, this is a very cute gardeners. What happens when there is a garden and the gardener does not tend to the garden with discipline? It has weeds. It doesn't look beautiful. Nature will make everything in the garden go all across. And very soon it will become dirty, unkempt. You won't even step into that place. So only free, they say it looks like jungle. Nobody will say it looks like a garden. What happens to an athlete who doesn't want to practice? What happens to an athlete who says, practice nahi karega? My fitness mein kya hai? Main manage kar lega us din. I don't know whose car it is, but it looks good. You have the best car in the world, but you don't like traffic signals. You don't have the discipline to wait when the signal is red. What happens? What happens in a city when nobody cares about traffic signals? Everybody has the freedom to keep driving as per their likes. You have the freedom. And we can shout with the traffic pandu also. Nahi dega, kya karega, ja. You know, some of us really enjoy dominating poor people. We really think our identity is out of shouting at a maid or shouting at an employee. There is something called self-bias. What is self-bias? Anything that goes right in life, I come and take all the credit for it. Anything which goes wrong, I completely blame others for it. Do you know anybody like that? Anything goes right, मैंने किया था. Anything goes wrong, ये नालायक लोग, मेरा टीम वाले ना सब बेवकूफ लोग हैं यार. Any one of you? Anything goes right, मैंने किया. Anything goes wrong, मेरा टीम बेकार है. सुनता नहीं है वो. Now that is what happens when you say, I will have all the freedom to blame others, but I won't have the discipline to lead my life beautifully well. Next. This is a picture of a river. What happens when a river flows without the banks to discipline it? There is floods. And the floods destroy. And when there are dams which are created, which disciplines the river, now hectares of land, hundreds and thousands of hectares of land will get irrigated. And finally, okay, this is working. And finally, imagine a railway train. It is free to run at the speed that it wants as long as it has the discipline to run on the tracks. The same train goes off track. Now what happens? It will crash. So having a desire only for freedom and saying, I want freedom without discipline can be disastrous for your life. Let me take a pause over here and ask all of you to do something. There may be multiple aspects of your life where you need discipline. It can be the way you communicate. It can be the way you plan. It can be the way you delegate. It can be the way you take care of your fitness. Right now, can you take a decision? Where will you implement discipline going forward? And I'm not speaking about total discipline. Let's say with respect to food, if your discipline is 4 out of 10, would you like to make it 6 out of 10? I'm not saying become 10 out of 10. It's left up to you. It's your freedom. You say, no, Naren, 8 out of 10. Fair enough. So in your life, where would you like to practice discipline? Please write that. Oh, it's back. Hanji. Now, what happens when you care for only freedom without discipline? We have what is called as the drill. Number one is everything gets delayed. So delay becomes the way you live your life. कभी हुआ तुम्हारे साथ? Everything gets postponed. If you say that I will do it tomorrow, tomorrow never comes. And then it's too delayed and you do it in the last moment. And quality never comes in last moment. Quality never comes in last moment. In the long run, dramatically reduced freedom. Let's say today you want to be free to have whatever you want as food. 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the line, even if you go abroad, let's say you go to Switzerland, but you will sit in the balcony of your hotel. Everybody else for a beautiful walk. You can't because घुटने दुख रहे हैं और the back is weak. चलता हूं ना आजकल बहुत दुखता है मेरे को. So in the long run, what you lose is your complete freedom. I stands for inconsistency. The life becomes a routine of inconsistency. So classic. How many of you have donated money to the gym? Yeah, we call it donation because you take an annual membership and you invested another 15,000 in costume, shoes, socks. और एक रात पहले ना मतलब इतने अच्छे से सजा के रखा था. You went for 2 days, third day, थोड़ा इधर दुख रहा था. And after that, you went for probably another 2 days. And the owner of the gym are so happy. They look at you and they understand. My donor has come. So inconsistency. Like there are many over here, right? When we play the sports convention. अरे बाप रे, मतलब जो जुनून होता है ना पूरे फ्रेटर्निटी में, हा. Looks like Olympics मतलब हम ही को मिलने वाला है. By the way, how many of you know of something called the Olympic Gold Quest? Okay, very few of you. You should do a beautiful research on that. Olympic Gold Quest in India. And the mission of the Olympic Gold Quest is to help enough athletes from India win gold medals in Olympics. And you know what is their slogan? 7 grams of gold to lift the nation. One Olympic gold medal has 7 grams of gold. So when Bindra won the gold medal in shooting, the whole country was so euphoric. They said, we have to do this multiple times in multiple sports with multiple athletes. So 7 grams of gold to lift an entire nation. And one of those days, I will talk to you about what was the discipline of Bindra. How did he develop that discipline? How his coach did not teach him shooting for 8 months, but only inculcated a tremendous sense of discipline inside him and then started teaching him shooting. One of those days, in some other context, I creates inconsistencies. Only freedom you want. Your life is a story of inconsistency. I mean, will you go to Vaishali if there is inconsistency in the quality of sambar there? Will you buy an Apple product if it is very inconsistent? So you want the world to relate with you beautifully well, but if I'm inconsistent, things won't happen. No discipline, no focus. I am distracted all over the place. All over the place. Anybody and anything can distract me. And the last L. This is the sad story of our life. He or she was such a huge potential, लेकिन हुनर था हुनर, मगर we become a sad story. And our story is इतना potential था, कुछ कर नहीं पाया. So when I want only freedom and not discipline, get ready for your entire life to be a boring drill. And when I have discipline and freedom, what happens? Can I have the next slide, please? These 8 things will happen. These 8 things will happen. What are these 8 things? First, healthy relationships. Because even if I'm upset, I have discipline. So I'm not going to blurt out. I'm not going to shout. I'm not going to scream. I'm not going to blame. I will say, थोड़ा देर सोच के अच्छे तरीके से बात करेंगे. The objective is not to tell you how wrong you are. The objective is to lift you so that you are not wrong in the future. So the idea is not to bury you, but the idea is to lift you, and communication can do that magic. So without discipline, healthy relationships is impossible. हो ही नहीं सकता. Improve time management. That's what you said, right? I want to become much better at time management. Requires discipline. With discipline, improve time management. To me, this D is extremely important. Design a life of your choice. Some of us experience sadness in life, not because life is wrong, but we think we don't have the grounds to create our own life. मुझे जो करना था, मुझे उसका मौका नहीं मिला, etc., etc. आपको मौका कल नहीं मिला था, लेकिन आने वाले कल में मिल सकता है, provided you are disciplined enough. I wanted to move into training. My father immediately said, not at all. I was earning very well in business at that point of time. And I told him training में शायद ज़्यादा कमाई नहीं होगी, but I want to do that for the rest of my life. And he gave me a metaphor which haunts me even today. He said, दूध देने वाली गाय को कोई घर से बाहर निकालता है क्या? And I could literally see myself on my force giving milk, और उसमें से नोट बाहर आ रहे हैं. But then I told him, I understand, give me a target. After I achieve that target, am I free to do what I want to do? So that year, about 5 months were left. This conversation is happening in October. So he said, अगले तू 5 महीने में ना 10 लाख कमा के दिखा. And I'm 27 years old. And I don't have a family business. अगले 5 महीने में 10 लाख कमा के दिखा. In about 4 months, I earned 10 lakhs. How? You have to do my business training program to learn that. KMM में नहीं मिलेगा वो. हाँ, मेरे पेट पे लात नहीं मारने का. So after 5 months, when I went to him, somewhere in the end of April, when the balance sheet was out, that पापा भी जाऊं? He said, मन तो नहीं कर रहा है. I really wanted to buy a cow and give it to him. He said, मन तो नहीं कर रहा है, लेकिन मैं भी इंसान अपने जबान का पक्का है. जाना है जा. आएगा तू 1 साल बाद, अफसोस होगा, काम नहीं होगा तेरे से. फिर भी अब मैं रोकेगा नहीं तेरे को. He did his best. But because I had the discipline to achieve what was expected, he could not tell me, no, don't go. And when I completed batch 1, first batch, and when we had a graduation ceremony, and Papa flew in from Chennai to witness the graduation family. Convinced ke kya hoga, kuch nahi hoga. When people spoke about their journeys of transformation, at the end of it, when we came back home, he told me, जो दुनिया करती है वो करने दो, तू जो कर रहा है ना दुनिया में कोई नहीं कर सकता है, ये काम कभी छोड़ना मत. And right now we are having batch 147. If I don't have discipline, because Papa said that I can be super upset. Why doesn't somebody believe in me? ये रो धो के कुछ नहीं होने वाला है. Produce results. Like a statement goes, the only way to tell the whole world shut up is by producing results. If verbally you have to tell shut up, then you are all gas, no substance. When your results tell the whole world, बाबा जो अपन ने पहले बोला था ना थोड़ा शायद गलत बोल दिया, फिर मजा आया. The only way to actually tell the world shut up is by producing results. So therefore, D is extremely important for me. Don't be a victim. Don't think you are a victim. Design your own life. To design our life, we want freedom. Like, have you heard of that concept called break year? They don't break the year, but in their studies, they say 1 year, I don't want to study at all. I just want to explore and go everywhere. Out of 100 people who take a break year, maybe one do something meaningful. 99 of them, rest of their life, they only put together what was broken. They wanted freedom, but they never had discipline, as a result of which nothing meaningful came out of it. Like somebody can say, 7 days, I only want to be at home and think. Arey, 5 minutes soch le yaar. If you don't know, you have lived with yourself your entire life. All of you. You have always lived with yourself. So 5 minutes is more than enough for you to understand and have clarity. Why do you want 7 days? Because you're not very sure about your ability to be disciplined about the decisions you want to take. Design your own life. Then comes effective decision making. We have a saying in life school. Don't just bother about taking right decisions. Just go all out and prove your decision was right. Sometimes you take decisions and prove it right. How does anybody know, okay, this is the best decision? I don't know. But if I've taken a decision, I want to make it right. I will not let rejections doubt my dreams. It just means this is not the door for me. It's as simple as that. But if I have a key in my hand, which means it will open some lock, I just have to keep experimenting. That to me is effective decision making. You take a decision, go all out and make it right. And you do not allow anybody in the world to make you doubt your dreams. When you live a life with freedom and discipline, greater productivity. The kind of results you bring is stunning, which is what a Virat Kohli is all about. Achieve desired goals, tremendous personal growth. I like this. I like to ask this question to people, that what was significant that happened in your life in the year 2017? If I ask this question to you, what happened significant in your life in 2017 or 2020 or 2022? And sometimes I don't get an answer. Which means an entire year went, 365 days. Nothing significant. In Japan, they call it as the lost decades. After 1990s, they have not had any breakthrough. Some of us also have lost decades. Last 10 साल में क्या किया? नहीं, मतलब चल रहा है. कितना हो सकता था? So when I want to live life like that, where personal growth excites me, then freedom is required with discipline. Otherwise, sometimes it's like we are just waiting for death to come to us one of these days. Where we get up in the morning to have our breakfast, we wait for lunch to have our lunch, then we wait to go back home to have our dinner. In between कुछ तो करना पड़ेगा to fill time. तो चलो किसी ना किसी चीज में हम busy है. We don't have a plan. We don't have a vision. We don't have clarity about what I want to do in 2024, which is coming. So we also go through lost years, if not lost decades. Because personal growth is not a desire. And that can only happen. You will have a desire for personal growth only if you know that you can be disciplined. Otherwise, time pass हो गया ना, किसी से बड़ा झगड़ा नहीं हुआ ना, ज्यादा कुछ नुकसान नहीं हुआ ना, पिछले साल 50 लाख कमाया था, इस साल 55 लाख कमाया ना, सब ठीक ठाक है. Personal growth is what gives you excitement in life. If you ever want to feel really excited, then you will have a goal that you are completely committed to, and a goal which also requires you to personally grow, not just reach a destination. Like I know when me and Bharti were preparing for Everest Base Camp, and Bharti was scared of heights, and we bought a first floor home because she will not move into a third floor house. And she said, I will go to Everest Base Camp and come. The proof of a great goal is not in what we achieve, but who we become in the process. है कि नहीं? Is the truth. The proof of a great goal is not what we achieve, but who we have become in the process. So I remember then Bharti saying, let's go to Himachal, where there is the highest, what do you call it? Paragliding. And I want to do paragliding. So the lady who would not go to third floor, she wants to do paragliding. She says, yes, I'm tired of being afraid. I want to kill my fears. And as she did paragliding, she started crying. And the person who was in tandem with her immediately said, आपको डर लग रहा है, नीचे चले? She says, बिल्कुल नहीं. मैं रो रही हूं, इसका मतलब क्या है? And then the classic Marwadi, पैसा दिया ना? अभी जाएगी पैसा वापस करेगा? नहीं, रोने दो मुझे. And when they came down, that fellow had a look of disbelief. Says, 40 minutes, your wife was crying. And as I said, shall we go down fast? She gave me a look. And I said, Baba, chalne do. I have never experienced any flyer who's cried for 40 minutes, but said, I want to control my emotions. I want to kill my fear. Now, it's not about paragliding. It's a goal. But what does it do to me as a person? That to me is personal growth. And when you look back at life and you say, it's a good life, it'll have enough occasions of fantastic personal growth. Only possible through discipline. Otherwise, for her to tell that fellow, तुरंत नीचे लेके जाओ, everybody would have understood. तूने try तो किया ना. Third floor नहीं जाती थी, इतने ऊपर से एक बार कूदा तो सही ना तू. That is enough. But that won't allow me to grow. Trying does not allow me to grow. I will do whatever it takes. If I have to cry, it's okay. But I have to achieve what I set out to achieve because I want to transform myself. And finally, you can't practice self-care unless you have discipline. You cannot practice self-care unless you have discipline. Malhar the other day was talking to me about a kind of eating which is called as boredom eating. In the night, when you're watching a TV serial and you're bored with what is happening in the serial. I think the name is bad because you don't see real. It should be called see fiction. But then you think, kya akela बैठ के खा रहा हूं, बाकी सब सो गए हैं. Out comes the popcorn. Out comes the bhujia. Out comes everything. Fried dal. Nikalo usko. Everybody is sleeping. You are bored with life. Go to boredom meeting. Self-care, not possible. How many of you have gone through this with a lot of pride? Please raise your hand. Good. Some people are very honest and I really like that. If you want to hide the gaps in your life, gaps are places through which you lose things. The combination of discipline and freedom will give you this. So we have attempted to create two acronyms. At one end, you have drill. At the other end, you hide the gaps. Thanks, darling. Now inside the classroom, you will ask them that out of this one session that you've had, what is their most important takeaway? I'm asking all of you now, out of what you have experienced me explaining this session in about an hour's time, what is your most important takeaway? So inside the classroom, you'll ask the children, what is their main takeaway out of the session? And then what I made all of you do is what you'll ask them to do. You'll ask them to identify one aspect in life where they would love to implement discipline wholeheartedly. And then there will be a small farewell that you will give to children inside the classroom. The final 3-4 minutes of the session will be assumed the most power-packed 3-4 minutes that you're going to give to these children. Now I give you the freedom to design the last 3 minutes. This is your farewell to them. You may never see them in your life. But what you say in those 3 minutes must come out of belief, must come out of joy, maybe come out of patriotism, maybe come out of belief in the youth, maybe come out with conviction that it is this youth who will take India to its glorious heights. So these 3 minutes, let it be the most power-packed farewell, where you tell them, see, in life school, we have only one life schooler who's a Padma Shri. But how beautiful it will be if we have 10 Padma Shris who have done Let's Explore. And how would it be one of the life schoolers tomorrow turn out to be a Bharat Ratna? So for that to happen, what kind of self-belief, what kind of content, what kind of delivery? Now imagine inside your classroom, there are some people who are going to become champions. If somebody is interested in law, visualize that they are going to become the Chief Justice one of these days. Somebody who's interested in business, visualize them on the cover of international magazines. If somebody wants to be a bureaucrat, visualize them heading the most important role in the government. Now, this is our greatest boon to our children. Sometimes when I do a training program, I carry a seed in my hand. And I show the seed to people and ask, what do you see? Almost everybody, of course, says that I see a small seed or a grain in your hand. And then I go on to say, inside this seed, there is a forest. In China, there is a saying that inside every seed, there is a forest. Eyes can make you look at the seed, but vision can make you look at the forest. What is the difference between sight and vision? Sight is what everybody can see. Vision is what nobody can see, you are able to see. Now, inside the classroom, there are these children, there's youngsters. They need somebody to believe in them. Again, one of those days, I'll talk to you about how a few teachers shaped my life. And the conversation would have gone on for 30 seconds, sometimes 3 minutes. And what they said defined my attitude to my life. So similarly, when you have eye contact with a few students inside your classroom and you say, I don't know what you think of yourself and I don't know what the world thinks of you, but I see greatness in you. Irrespective whether you study well or don't study well, You are bound to create history. Today, when we speak about the glory of country, we speak about what happened 2,000 years ago, 2,500 years ago. When we speak about Maharashtra and we spoke about Savitribai Phule and what she did for the education system and what she did for women. These history makers were all once in school. And you too are in a school. In times to come, don't be just a history reader, become a history maker. And I see some of you have that spark inside. And you have KMM. So in case you need any help with respect to your studies and life, this is the number that you have on a Mamu Mein Dam Hai kind of poster. Reach out over here free, because the relationship that has got formed inside the classroom through these sessions is a relationship for the rest of our life. So give them this belief that kal agar kuch unke life mein theek nahi hai, suicide is not an option. Destruction is not an option. Without mentioning these words, say you have somebody who will always believe in you no matter what. You're in the worst of times when there is somebody who believes in you. And that's what the story of Harry Potter is all about, right? He has self-doubts. I don't think I can do magic. And then a Hermione can come and say, no, you can do magic. You don't know how powerful you are. Go ahead. And then half-heartedly also he gives it an effort. Sees what he is capable of. And beautiful things happen. So everybody in the path of life sometimes will have some doubts. And that time you need somebody around, not to tell you, I told you so. You don't need those people. You need people who say, irrespective of this, I am confident you can create a beautiful life. You will create history. People will see you as a role model. Session that we had. Let the last session be the most powerful session that you have ever taken in your life. Even once, we are not telling children be disciplined. So you're not telling them, therefore, be disciplined. No direct instruction. You're not going to instruct them be disciplined. Let it be an awakening within them when you explain the session. So give your mocks on time. Live this session, because we are talking about freedom and discipline and you're not disciplined. Then it's a tragedy. And give your 200%. Do whatever it takes. It was a pride and pleasure to have all of you in this year's KMM. Next year, it will be much, much more powerful than what we had this year. By that time, we would have defined a lot of things around. And I'll wait to see all of you once again next year. Thank you so much. Love you all. Have a great week.